How you doing, folks? Welcome back to the View podcast. I think it's episode 24 at this point, and it's labelled More to Do, where Leeds are in the league right now. And I'm joined by Joan Wayman from the Joe Wayman Show. Did I say John Wayman? Joe Wayman from the Joe
Joan.
Wayman Show.
Joan, I thought you called me.
Oh,
Joan.
Joan. Joan.
Joan. Joan Wayman.
Yeah, Joan by Joe, because we decided to have a bit of chance to actually do some stuff together today. We haven't spoken probably in a while. So, wanted to kind of talk about the games we played recently, Joe, and there's the drop off, as I call it, that tends to happen with Leeds game, but more the style of football that Leeds have and how it's playing into the results that we've gotten so far. Bristol City at the weekend was probably a game that wasn't overly exciting. It was the start of my stag do. Ended up being a miserable start to it. I was in with the lads in the Camden and we sat there and watched just a bore draw. And the fact that I'm bringing this up is because twice this year I've heard myself say I'm bored watching the Leeds game, and I don't remember the last time I've said that. I've said lots of other things about Leeds games, but bored was never really one of the things. But that's popped up. But I want to talk about style of play, Joe, and just you were a man that's got a lot of insight into how Gareth Southgate played. You spoke an awful lot about England during the summer. And I think there's some similarities, I think, between Daniel Farke and Gareth Southgate. Good and bad. Good and bad. And I want to talk about them and then get into the Mateo Joseph, Joel Piroux conversation in a slightly different framing of it. But also look ahead to what we've got coming up in our next 6 games and where Sunderland are as well, because that's the team to chase. But Joe, from a style-wise perspective, look at the Bristol City game even, and maybe a second half of, or as soon as Leeds had scored the second goal against Watford. What's your thoughts on the current style of football that Leeds are playing, and where do you think they can go?
It's a difficult question for me to answer, really, Joe, because I do... Look, I agree with you in terms of Saturday's game was so boring. It's been tough to speak about it after the fact. I think my post-match was half an hour, final word was half an hour. There wasn't really anything to speak about because it was just a bit meh. And it's hard as a content creator to get something out of that, I think. And that tells you all you need to know because, it wasn't great. But I do still think there was chances for Leeds United to win the game, of which we failed to do. So we have to look at the personnel. Now, of course, there's that argument where we should be creating more than we do. And I think that's fair as well, because we do have an abundance of talent at our disposal. That you've just to look at a different... If we had a different coach like Bielsa, we would be creating loads, right? But it's different. I guess it's different. So horses for courses kind of vibe. I think I don't mind us being risk adverse as long as we get promoted. When you're not winning games, though, i.e. when you have a draw like we did, it can be like pulling teeth, right? But again, I just think back to Joseph missing the chance, Nonto missing the chance. If we score, then we should be all right. But again, it's just getting that elusive first goal in it, I think.
It seems to be a trend with Leeds as well. If they get the first goal early on, we see a very different looking Leeds United side. The tails are up, they move. The issue for me is when we scored the second against Watford, I wanted more because it's 2-0 inside 10 minutes. This team is the best start I've seen Leeds since the Norwich game, and probably those two are the best I've seen this Leeds team play in the 2 years that Daniel Farke has been here, a year and a bit that Daniel Farke has been here, which suggests to me that this team has levels. Yeah. And has gears to go through. And we talked earlier on the season that Leeds winning games probably in second, third gear.
Yeah.
Go back to last year, and we said all last year, we're going to give somebody a hiding at some point. Some point, Leeds are going to thump someone. And we never really did outside the playoff game. Kind of feel the same way again. Daniel Farke, after the Watford game, made a comment, and I like to connect comments to things I've seen and add 2 and 2 together and get 27. But after the game, he said that he was concerned that Leeds would get complacent at 2-0. Leeds dropped off immediately after they scored the second goal, which to me kind of felt like, did you tell the players to drop off, drop back?
Okay.
We're going, and that's my concern, is that sometimes when the tails are up and this team is firing, let them go and let them keep firing, which I suppose was also said about Gareth Southgate in the summer with the England team as well. If you've that abundance of attacking talent, take the reins off them and let them go and see what they can do. Now, that's my take on it, my feeling of it. What's your feeling on that?
I mean, If you use the England example for it, like when you mentioned there Southgate for it, now obviously we'll see how Tuchel gets on, but Lee Carsley went and did what probably all the fans wanted us to do and just played all the best players, and it went to shit and we got beat. You know what I mean? So I guess I would have to side with what Daniel's. I do agree with you. He is risk averse. Like we know that. I think he's more content with keeping a clean sheet. Because I think if we stop enough goals going in, then we have enough quality to win games 1s and 2-0s. I agree. We had lovers when we scored 2 within 10 minutes against Watford. I thought they're going to get absolutely battered. And obviously, it didn't prove to be the case. They got physical. We sort of like dropped back. And I mean, I've seen it work, though, where we've dropped back and controlled games from a defensive standpoint for 45 minutes and not conceded. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes it looks better than it did, say, against Watford. But I understand. I can sort of understand the similarities, but I don't think they play the same style. Like in terms of going forward, I wouldn't have thought. People will be able to tell you different. I don't know the game more than me, but I don't know. I'm content with where we're at, Joe. I think if it becomes 2, 3s, and 4s games in a row, then of course. But I just think, yeah, it was very West Brom, wasn't it? It was a bit naff, and I think, like you say, if Farke sees a game going a certain way, he's not proactive. He's sort of more content with it going that way if it's not going to lead to defeat, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, you see other managers throwing on players to try and switch it up, and he's always reactive. He's never proactive, I don't think. Yeah. I can't remember a time where he's been proactive in a game where he's gone, do you know what? I'm going to do this to wrestle back control. He doesn't, does he? Like they'll change 3 or 4 players and then he'll change a few. You know what I mean? I don't know. And sometimes they do make us worse. The sub.
I think because of that reactive nature of them, you're changing your team now just based on what the opposition have done. So now you're not playing your game anymore. You're now trying to stop them playing their game, so that the mindset shifts from being this is how we want to play, this is how we're going to cause them problems, this is how we're going to win the game. And your mindset then shifts to, well, this is how we're going to stop them from playing the game. So now any direction about you going and winning it is off the table. It's now about managing this game and making sure we either win it as it is or we draw as it is, but we don't come away with nothing. And I think Farke talks about the 2 points per game average so often that I think it's very, very ingrained in his thinking as well. Point away is a good result. 3 points at home is a good result.
He will see that as a good result against Bristol City, who are unbeaten. Yeah.
I think he'll look at the last 10 minutes of that game and go, let's just manage this game out and come away with a point, where we watched it and went, they're sitting so deep, just get at them. And we don't see that from him. And I think maybe it's on me that my expectation levels are at some point he'll go, Jesus, we're really good, let them go. You know, but history would tell me that Daniel Farke will never think that. Same way he'll never think about making a change at halftime. He just doesn't come into his thinking. It's not going to happen. So we can ask for it. We did create, as you said, against Bristol City, Joe, 68% possession. We had an XG of 1.38 to Bristol City's 0.1. With 17 shots, 5 on target. Bristol City, 4 shots, none on target. So even with the 5 on target suggesting we've enough, and with the possession, we've done enough to win that game. But the question then becomes,
I don't remember that many chances, though. Do you know what I mean? It's all good things. Yeah, no, it didn't, did it? No, definitely not.
But when you look at the possession stats of Joe, one of the questions I wrote down watching this was like, yeah, we had loads of possession. Yes, we dominated the game, but it's pretty passive and it's keep ball. Did we really create enough, or did we really look with that amount of possession like we wanted to create enough to win that game, or did we just look happy with the point?
Yeah, maybe more so happy with the point. I do agree. Like even when you reel off them stats, I go, that doesn't sound right because I don't remember that many chances off the top of my head. You know, I think, it almost felt, because I made this point afterwards, that the midfield operated very much like how Gruev and Ampadu operated. Now, was that an instruction? Potentially so. We'll wait and see. We don't know, do we? Right? Like, maybe that's what they'll be like on Saturday, and maybe Farke's gonna coach that expansiveness out like he did with Gruev. Like, let's be honest, when Gruev first came in, he was spraying balls left and right.
Yeah,
but then it stopped. And I wonder if, like, against Plymouth on Saturday, I fully expect us to win that game and win it well, by the way. If that's the way the midfield will go now, because he's had more time with them. If you remember, they've been away on international duty. There's been 3 games in 8 days. It might be a case now we've got full week's training. Now this is what I want you to do. This is what. So if we might see more of that, Joe, and then everyone will get annoyed again. You know.
Yeah, wasted opportunities for me. I think two players
No, I get
what they can do. Yeah, but at the same time, and as you've said, I've written this down. As long as we go up,
yeah.
But what if we don't? And then what if it's a case of, well, you could have got a 3 points against Bristol, or you could have
100%.
done that against them and you didn't, and that's my fear, is that we leave ourselves short. We talked an awful lot in the summer about what this season needed to be, and we both talked about wanting Leeds in the mix. And even with 5 points off the top, we're still very much in the mix. Still in third position in the league, and we're doing okay. We're unbeaten in 6 games now. So
seven.
Yeah. So it's all starting to look similar to before the run last year. It's ticking away. But is it good enough, Joe, as long as we go up? Is it enough to grit and bear this for an entire season and just get up?
I don't care, yeah. I don't it's probably not. But for me, I don't care. Like, just get me out of the division. I've come to terms with the fact that he's risk averse. I've come to terms with that's how he wants the midfield to operate when it was Ampadu and Gruev. I just want out of this division, Joe. And then we can reassess it, right? We can reassess it when we go up. Because, again, that's going to be a massive test for Daniel. Huge test if we go up. I mean, I can't even begin to think of not going up. Don't even, I'm convinced, you see. I know I'm always convinced, but the standard of the division...
has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, imagine 5 games from the end and we're not there and we're still chasing. I'll be like, oh no, it's happening again. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can't not go up, Joe. So I don't even like to think about that. That'll keep me up at night tonight. That.
Well, then let's look ahead then, right? Because Sunderland are the pace setters right now. We all thought, like Ipswich last year, they'd drop away at some point. That doesn't appear to be happening. They're sticking in there. They've got a good manager in Reggie Slippery. Yeah. He's putting a good side to there. They've got the young lad Riggs as well, who's had a phenomenal season for them. Joe Bellingham in the middle of the park is starting to look more and more and more like a Premier League central midfielder. Yeah. I don't think he'll ever be his brother, but I think he could be a very, very good Premier League midfielder. He's taken along. And they've got goals in that team as well. Their next 6 games are interesting. There is an international break plonked in the middle of this, but they're away to QPR and away to Preston, back-to-back next. So the next 2 games on paper are winnable, but both away games, which, as we know, on the road, things are a little bit different.
Yeah, they're not that great on the road either. They're very good at home, but not that great on the road, yeah.
But then when they do get home, they've got some tricky games coming up. They've got Coventry at home, then they're away to Millwall, then they're home to West Brom, which won't be easy, and then they're away to Sheffield United. So in that 6, Joe, do you see them dropping 5 points?
I could easily see them dropping 5 points, yeah. I could see them getting beat at QPR or Preston, if I'm honest. Like, it could happen. Sheffield United will be tough. I can already tell you West Brom Sunderland will be a draw. Because Carlos will go there and just say, nah, game over. So, yeah, I could easily see them dropping points. Yeah, 100%, Joe, I could. Don't know about you.
Where's the gap then with the making up? So Leeds next 6, and this week again, it's a real shame Bristol City turned out the way it was because I had 3 points there in a run.
But I had us 12 from 12 from between now and next international break. Yeah,
it has to be for me. Yeah, and if you look at the teams, there's 2 questions on it. Plymouth at home is up next. Then we're away to Millwall, who aren't doing well this year. Then we've got a home game against QPR, away to Swansea, and then the 2 that I've got potential banana skins are. We're at home to Luton. They've not been great, but they seem to be slightly fixing things.
Yeah.
Although it's at home for us. And then away to Blackburn, who are doing reasonably well this year and have been a tricky enough side for a lot of teams. So in that 6, so as long as we can make up that 5-point gap within those 6, you come out of that, you're heading towards the Christmas lineup of games, then Leeds are sitting in a really decent position, and we can hopefully then look at the one on the back end. Do you see a run like last year happening, Joe, looking at what's going on?
I do. I mean, we're already on 1. We're unbeaten in 7. So, yeah, we haven't lost in 7. And that just seems par for the course. No one's talking about that. And that's probably because we're not top, right? So Sheffield United were beaten twice just the other week. We haven't been beaten in 7 games. So we do need to laud that. Now, of course, we should have more wins, if we're being honest. We should have beaten Sunderland. We probably should have done more against Bristol City. I wanted 12. out of the 4 before the international break. I still want 9 from the other 3. I think we should beat Plymouth. Should get. I don't care. They should be getting a hiding. They're good at home park, really good at home park, and can wrestle back games and have had some late winners. But away from home, they're stinking. So we need to be beating them and beating them well. Millwall, Farker's gone there and got results, and very good results. We should be beating them. QPR, we owe one. I think they'll go in with that mindset as well. I think they'll really turn up against QPR. And then, look, Blackburn tough. Who was the other? I tell you who really worries me is Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough really worry me as well.
Yeah.
But, we should be winning these games, Joe, really. We should be winning. We've played all the tough teams. We've played them all. And we're still third after playing the perceived best teams in the division, Sunderland, Norwich, West Brom, Burnley. We've played all the decent teams, and we're still third. So naturally now, we should be winning. I want 4-0 on Saturday, mate. I'm not even joking. I want us to beat them 4-0. And I don't think that's too crazy.
I think we're shy of a statement win to kind of just rattle the other teams a little bit. Say, okay, they've kicked into gear now, and now we should be because I think if you're worried about coming up against Leeds, that adds an edge for us. That takes away from an opposition coming in going, geez, they're in great form and they're moving. I think that Leeds carries that. The issue coming into the game, Sean, we'll talk about them is, for me, it's conversion. Now, we talked at the start of the season about conversion rate, and a lot of people had a lot of things to say about conversion rates at the start of the season when we were scoring goals. And I don't talk about conversion rate as long as the ball's in the back of the net. I don't care about the conversion rate as long as we're scoring. The goals are starting to dry up a little bit. And the question is becoming Pirro or Joseph again. There will be the camp that are 100% Mateo Joseph, anybody but Pirro. And then there's a camp that are, well, Joe Pirro should be in the team.
What about the give Bamford a shot camp?
The longer that conversation between the other two goes on, the more he comes into that conversation. That a lot of people will not be happy with that. But that's, look,
it could happen, Jay. It could happen. He's clocking up minutes. It could happen.
And Daniel's getting frustrated at the lack of completions. Now, this is the question.
Yeah.
I will not criticize either of the two strikers, Joseph or Pirro, because I think it's horses for course. I want to talk to you about your thoughts on both players. For me, you play Pirro if you're creating loads of chances and you can get the ball in behind. So if you're going to be on the front foot for the whole game, you start Pirro. If you're not going to be on the front foot for the whole game and you're going to try and slow the game down, Joseph, for me, because of what he offers off the ball and link-up play. Where are you with the two of them? Do you look at them the same way? And do you see maybe some of Leeds' problems where we should have won more games, we should have scored more goals, being at their feet? Or is it just a general Leeds just not creating enough goal scoring, clear cut, or not taking them?
I think they have to shoulder some of the blame. I get quite frustrated when I see other teams have one chance and score one goal. It happened last season with Leicester, Southampton, Armstrong, we know how many he scored, Ipswich the same. I watched Sunderland the other night against Luton. They were soundly beaten. They have 2 chances, they score 2 goals, they get 3 points. Leeds United, I can't remember the last time we did that. Honestly, was it Ross McCormack? I don't know. The last time even Bamford, even when he scored 17, he probably should have had 25. Do you know what I mean? Like, the facts are, we just always have strikers that need 3 and 4 chances before they find the back of the net. And we don't create enough for Pirro during open play, it would seem, because you would imagine he is that guy, but we just don't create enough for him. I think I did say start Pirro before this weekend's game. I was okay with it. He'd scored 4, he got 2 assists. Now I'm going back to what was working at the start of the season. Joseph running in. Then there was space in the later parts of the game. Then bring Pirro on for him to attack them spaces. So I think I'd revert back to start Joseph, Pirro off the bench. That's where I'm at the minute, but that could change, obviously.
Yeah, no, but it's an understandable way of looking at it, because if one striker's not hitting the ground, you want the other one to do it. So, and you've got them there, and then, as you said, you've got Pat coming through the middle as well. So it'll be interesting coming to the weekend. Joe, before we wrap up today, just wanted to get your thoughts on the probably the big bit of news this week, and that's the extended deal between Leeds and Adidas for another period moving forward. It's a big one to get from a branding perspective for Leeds, to have that name beside the shirt. Yeah. Not all been brilliant. There's been a couple of misses and a couple of hits. We've had the Stilton cheese and my least favorite home shirt, the one you got relegated in with the navy collar and the faint yellow. I'm not a fan. But then the last couple of years have been mostly hits.
What I love about Adidas, because they have this with Arsenal, is they make a lot of the retro gear, and as long as it sells, they will make it. And I've been quite envious of Arsenal's gear for a while. I know the Arsenal fans don't actually like it because they say whenever anything bad happens, we just release something new and it gets bought. But what we've seen this year is them lean into the Leeds retro side and using more of that. And I think they've probably seen the success of the yellow shirt. We've all seen the nice little drill tops and that. I mean, I think the prices are ludicrous, if I'm being totally honest.
I'm mad.
I've seen a jacket for 180 or something. I'm like, what? But yeah, I'm glad that we've got them because they make some nice stuff when they're allowed to, because a lot of it can be, we've got the same away kit as Leicester, but it's just different colours. But when they are allowed to, create some of that special gear, it's quality. So I like it, yeah.
I was really disappointed in the summer to hear that Asset FC weren't doing this anymore at all, and that they changed up things, because I thought the Peacock kit was beautiful. I loved it last year. I know we didn't win in it, but I really liked it as a kit. And again, it leaned into the club's history in a modern kind of way as well. The home kit with the Peacock embroidery into it, the bows in it, I thought was stunning. Bringing the proper Leeds blue and yellow back was great to see as well, getting away from the navy. And then this year, it kind of feels like it went back to kind of a generic template. And as long as they let people do.
What about the away one though? You like the away one, right?
I do love the away one. Yeah,
I don't even mind. Smiley was a little bit smaller. That's all, a little bit, because it's like that, but it's still an amazing shirt.
It's a slightly different variation of the smiley as well. It's got the thinner outside as well, where the around. So it's a slightly different badge. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I like it a lot. I don't even mind the third strip. I don't mind the navy kind of red. It's more Red Bully look than most. But we had a navy kit last year. I don't mind it too much. And the home gear this year is lovely, and I've gotten used to the Red Bull logo on the front of it now. So I bought it and I was like, it's actually a pretty good kit. It fits better than last year's as well. I have a little bit of a belly now, so it kind of hides it a bit. So yeah, they don't. But it's just from a credibility perspective, Joe. If we go back into the Premier League, your kit's made by Adidas. Your main shirt sponsor is Red Bull. It says an awful lot about you as a club.
It does, yeah, of course. The possibilities are endless. That's why I'm excited to see what this ownership group, as much as I am critical of them, do in the Premier League when we get there, and we will get there. But when we do, I'm so excited for what will happen. Definitely.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to see if the spending shackles come off a little bit more in the Premier League, what they could actually possibly do with this team. But shall we leave it there? And just say massive thanks for taking time out of your day today to come and have a chat with me. What's going on over at your place this week?
This week we'll have the press conference reaction, preview, and of course the game on Saturday as well. So I'm looking forward to football being back for sure.
Cool. Joe's details will be down below in the description. You can go and subscribe to Joe and check that out. And if you're listening to the audio, just pop over to YouTube and then have a little look and you'll find it there. And you can check that out as well. And I'll be back in the morning for the Leeds news. And then the breakdown, the warm-up will all be pre-recorded because I'm getting married on Friday. So I won't be here.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thanks, bro. So they'll go out, but they will be recorded. So just in case you're in the chat and you want it to be recorded, they will all be recorded going forward for this week at least, and then back to normal next week. Right, we'll leave it there, folks. Massive thanks as always for supporting the channel and everybody, and I'll see you in the morning. See ya. Bye.